This will be a description of part one of the Comprehensive Literacy Curriculum Project. And in order to do this, what you're going to have to do is choose a book to begin with. And you can choose any book that's appropriate for 4th, 5th, or 6th grade. If you're not sure about the appropriateness of the book, you can check with me. One book that I've found several people have wanted to use in the past, but is not a book for upper elementary students, would be Charlotte's Web. So please avoid using Charlotte's Web. Okay, so you're going to choose your book unless you specifically get permission from me. You will choose a chapter book or a nonfiction book for older readers. And then what you're going to start by doing is giving a short annotated bibliography. So here I'm going to switch to the example that's given, and you can see first you have the annotation. So I've chosen the book Mississippi Trial, which we'll be reading in class, and then I've done an APA reference for it, which is what you will also do. And then I have just a short explanation of the book and a little bit telling why I think this book would be appropriate for 6th graders. So I talk about the writing and that I would be using it specifically to teach writing. Okay, once you've done your annotation, you're going to talk about a number of things in a rationale. So you're going to talk about why students would engage in lesson activities that you've planned. Now, obviously, you haven't already planned all the lessons that you're going to look at, so you're going to be thinking ahead and what kinds of activities you think that you would be using. What I would be looking for here is some specific educational theory along with concrete references. You can use a website as a reference, a textbook, or a peer-reviewed journal article. If you use a website, it must have a university affiliation or some other affiliation, let's say, for example, an international organization on some type of education. So the International Literacy Association, for example, would be an acceptable website as a reference there. So in addition, in your rationale, you're going to write why and how your lesson activities will be motivated to children in the chosen grade level, and some reference to developmentally appropriate practice for the grade level chosen. And then finally, how your lessons will support students' acquisition of literacy. So again, let's take a look at the sample. So in the sample, I talk about 6th graders, and then I give a reference to Erikson, which I've gotten out of the Routman text. And you also have access to that, so that would be an easy reference to use if it fits with whatever it is that you want to say. Okay, again, I'm sorry, I've used Russell here. Russell is from the children's literature text, and Russell explains several of the educational theorists. So that, again, is a text that you should have access to, would be a good background information. So I've talked about choice and Routman. Now we'll come back to the Routman book. The Routman book does talk about choice a lot, and so again, that would be a good reference for motivation. Not that you have to use the same references that I use. So again, I give several things about the book and about things that I plan to do that would make this motivating. And then I talk about 6th graders and some things that I know about 6th graders. I give a reference to an article that we've read in class about writing, and then I kind of round it out by talking about some of the things that I plan to do, without being too specific, because right now I don't know all the things that I plan to do. And then this section will be finished with an APA reference list, and I will, in the next week or two, have an evening where I go through some APA reference criteria. So if you are feeling like you don't know too much about that, it might be to your benefit to check it out and come to the online tutorial that I'm planning to give. Okay, so if you have any questions about this, you can submit them to the question forum on Moodle about this assignment.